No school, parents at home juggling work and children, no play dates, no playgrounds. This is a tough time for everyone, but for kids, it's extraordinary and probably also very confusing. What can parents do to help the kids through it all? Well, let's find out. We're going to ask Alyson Schafer. She's an author, parenting expert, family counselor, and she joins us now via Skype from her home in Toronto. Alyson, it's great to see you again, even if only virtually. How are you managing
Yes,
through all this?
indeed. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you. I know it is very difficult times for people, and I certainly don't mean to minimize that. But I'm also very touched by the human experience of how people have come together. I love the sharings on Facebook, people making big noises on their balcony at 3 in the afternoon for the first line healthcare workers, and just the wonderful outreaching of people being supportive of people has just moved my heart.
Those are wonderful stories, but I mean, we'd have to agree that this is particularly odd for children, particularly young children, who would not be old enough to remember H1N1 or SARS, of 17 years ago. What are you hearing from your clients? What are you hearing from others about how this whole physical distancing thing is going for them?
Well, there seems to be two camps of people. I mean, everyone's doing their best to figure out what this looks like because they realize it's not just an extended March break anymore, that this is no longer a sprint. It's a marathon, is one of the metaphors that I've heard. And some people are settling into it, which I think speaks to resiliency and maybe some of the groundwork and some of the healthy relationships that we have built. And just so you know, we have never been better at parenting than we are right now, really, over the history of time of humanity. And so some people are coping and enjoying this time. They're having to get creative, but it's forced them to slow down. It's forced them to connect. This overscheduled child that they never got to see is suddenly a little bit more zen, because it turns out maybe a lot of their behavior was because they were overloaded and now they're kind of living a more balanced life. But for some other people that maybe had strains in their relationship, that didn't have those coping skills, depending on their parents' situation and other environmental global factors going on in the family, this is probably the biggest stress that a family has ever had. And we are seeing increases in domestic violence, in child abuse, in people calling in for support for organizations like Kids Help Phone. So I think there's a group that is thriving and a group that is really challenging and being tested by this and not coping well at all.
Now, that latter group is obviously in a different category. So let me just put that aside for a moment. But for the average kid, if I can put it that way, for the average family, do you worry that? Well, let me put it this way. I mean, kids need to be with other kids. I mean, that is what they just naturally do every day they go to school. Do
Yeah.
you see any long-term issues because kids are being so isolated right now from one another?
Well, I do think that they're going to do some very interesting social studies research after all of this is done. So I can't say what the research will bear, but I can tell you what my gut instinct is, which is that the kids will be okay. That we are differentiating the difference between social distancing and physical distancing. That the need for human connection, the need to feel included in a social grouping, is core to our mental health. And yes, kids need it, but we can deliver that feeling of connectedness in a lot of different ways. And little kids especially, their number one person to feel, or group to feel connected to, is their family. And
Hmm.
so kids that are not off at daycare and not in kindergarten, but actually at home with their primary caregivers, mom and mom, dad and dad, mom and dad, whoever that first little nuclear family is, those kids are actually really thriving, because this for them is a dream come true. You mean you can play Lego and Barbies with me longer? Like, woohoo! they're pretty happy. They might, be pining a little bit for their friends. I think far harder is the adolescents, the teens and the tweens, because there is a biological imperative that needing to be accepted by your peers, needing to find your way in your peer group, that there really is a biological drive for that. And now we're telling them they got to figure out how to do that without bumping into someone in the halls at school or hanging out at the mall. They're having to get more creative about what that looks like.
Well, if we can, let's just briefly go through the various demographics, because of course everybody from
Sure.
JK to the end of high school is out right now, and so let's just go through it and have you explain what the sort of special challenges are for each group. If you've got, the youngest kids right now, toddlers or JK, SK, grades 1, kids who are used to going to school every day and playing with friends and learning, and well, how much should you or how much shouldn't you tell them about why they can't go to school right now?
Well, I would say the general rule always is that your kids need to know that you are a credible source of information to them. And so I would say never lie. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't share information in a developmentally appropriate way that keeps them informed without frightening them. But to a young child, it might simply be they understand the idea of germs, that there are germs out there. There's a new germ. It's called COVID-19. That's its big fancy name. And people spread it, by coughing and touching. And so everybody is staying home so that we don't spread the germ until they find a way to get rid of it. And that may be simply enough. That's why we're washing our hands, and you go through all those other good safety protocols with kids. They're really experiential learners. There's a wonderful viral video going around on YouTube where you put a finger in a bowl of water that has pepper in it, and when you put your finger in, the pepper sticks, but if you stick it in soap, it repels the pepper. It's a great way to teach kids a little bit about keeping germs away. But I think they'll look to you to see whether or not you're calm and composed, and they will judge how fearful to be based on how fearful and anxious you are. So we have to really set the tone for that with our youngest kids. And I would say probably the biggest issue for kids of that age is they're probably demanding that you entertain them. And for parents who have been able to hand off kids to play dates, or to hand off kids to a daycare, or to hand off kids while they go to work, and now they've got a kid 24, and we're adults. It is fine to play make believe for an hour, but you're on day how many weeks of this, and we're not kids ourselves. We're not stimulated by painting egg cartons. We're
18 hours a day.
Yeah, and then we're feeling deficient, like we're terrible parents because we don't want to play with our kids. But so we don't need to be the entertainment committee for our children. I would just let that go, parents. That if you have not up until now, you will need to start teaching your kids how to self-entertain, to leave them alone for longer amounts of time, to be able to figure out play, and boredom will spark something creative to do. And so if they come to you and they say they're bored, just say like, that's fantastic. This is the minute before the creative juices tell you what else you might do. And if they can't come up with something, I would do what my father did, which is, if you can't find something to do, I have a list of chores a mile long. Do you want to wash the floor? Do you want to,
Well,
fold the laundry?
I get what you're saying. If you have, I mean, I have no doubt that strategy would work well for, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, something like that. But let's say you are normally like a mom or a dad who normally works full time outside the home, and now suddenly you are home all day long now with a 2 or a 3 or a 4-year-old. And as you point out, you are just not accustomed to having to come up with 12 hours a day worth of activities. What's the strategy here?
So I would take my advice from the nursery school teachers who trained me. I worked with 18 months to 2.5-year-olds for several years, and they make a plan for the day. And I did this with my kids too. You don't have to make a plan or a schedule for the day to account for every 5 minutes, but you might want to just block in the things you know. You know when you get up and have to get dressed. You know when meals are. You know when snack time is. And then there's sort of a couple of hours in the mid-morning, mid-afternoon. And then you want to diversify what happens then. When are we going to use our big muscles and do something active, like going for a walk or creating a maze in the house that you have to crawl over chairs and crawl under tables, or something creative like that? What are we going to do for arts and crafts time? What are we going to do for tech time, reading time? When will be make believe? Just make a couple of chunks of time, and that's going to feel predictable for your kids. They can't read at that age, but they can see a graph. They're going to see a little picture that you've made some icon, and then they just have some sense of predictability, some sense of flow. And you, as a parent, don't have to be constantly thinking on your toes in the moment. You can just say, okay, I need a week of arts and crafts ideas. Go online, go to Pinterest, Google it, find out what your friends are doing, and boom, arrange 5 crafts for the week. And you don't have to do something new every week. Figure out something that works for 7 days and repeat. We do that with meal planning all the time. We say,
Hmm.
oh, okay, it's meatless Monday. What are we having for meatless Monday? So I don't
Now,
know.
you did
Today is
say
your
something in there. You did say something in there that did raise a question with me, which is, what time are we going to get dressed? That presupposes that the kids are not allowed to sit around in their pajamas all day long. Have I got that right?
Well, I think that's up to each family to decide what battle you're going to fight and how much you want to keep things routine. Um, for some people, it just helps them to feel like everyone's up and getting up. But if you're talking about a 2-year-old, they love their pajamas. They couldn't care less. I figure if they're not hurting anybody, if it's not a disease situation and it's a fight I don't have to have with everything else on my plate, I may not take them to task on that. But with other kids, I might say, yeah, you know what? I think that it's really going to help us keep our sanity if we take this extra time we have. And I actually have this opportunity to have a kid who doesn't like to get dressed on their own and doesn't like to make their bed. Now, instead of being rushed with having to put pressure on them because I used to have to get to them dropped off at daycare and I had to get to work for 9. Suddenly now they don't have to go and I don't have to go. I can sit
Hmm.
here and I can actually do a parenting technique while I have some time to train them towards that independence. And I might use this as an opportunity for training for independence.
Okay, let's go to the other end of the spectrum, because all of what you just said will not work with somebody who's in high school.
No.
Particularly if they're typical high school kids, meaning they don't want to spend 5 minutes a day with you, let alone 5 hours a day with you. So what's the strategy then?
Well, first of all, don't believe everything a teen tells you. They're a little bit ego bound to act like they don't want to spend time with you. But I'll tell you something. I see teens in my counseling office. I have been skyping with my teens over this time that we can't meet face to face. Teens secretly are very much longing for their parents. They would like their parents to care for them in a non-judgmental way, but they do care about their parents. And so they'll say things like, well, I never would have texted my dad to say this comment, but because he was in the kitchen with me and he was making a coffee, I kind of just shared a thought and he kind of responded, and that's actually more than we usually talk. And they're appreciating that bit of overlap. But again, I do agree that they're supposed to want to be with their friends. They're trying to individuate and have some autonomy. And so we have to make space for that in our homes. And one of the ways that kids are making space is, yeah, they hang out in their bedroom or the basement. They find their little cave where they can isolate away from their parents. And they tend to be on different time clocks. The circadian rhythms of a teen actually drives them to want to stay up late at night and sleep later in the day. In fact, there's been a lot of arguments that if we would make our high schools have a start and stop time in line with the biological rhythms of a teen's body, we wouldn't have so much absenteeism. And research proves that that actually does help. So they might now, without the need for getting to school in the morning, they might be up later, chatting with their friends later at night and sleeping in. Which gives us some independence and privacy in the house. It gives them some
So that's all
independence and
okay.
privacy in the
That's
house.
all okay.
I think parents
That's
need to they need to decide if they're concerned about it, what are they concerned about, and to present it that way. So if the concern is, I'm worried that when school starts again, you won't get your body clock back, or I'm concerned that you're surfing online to sites that normally we supervise, and maybe this unsupervised time could invite some unwanted behavior, then I think we have to have that conversation. But just to make it a principled point that I just think you should go to bed at 11 and get up at 7 like everybody else, I think you're walking on thin ground there.
that's not the hill to die on at this time. You're
I
suggesting, yeah, that
I
makes
I
sense.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
If the safety and the other issues aren't really your points, yeah.
Hmm. Tell me this, Allison. How important do you think it is for parents of teenagers to convey an impression that um, everything's okay? I don't know everything that's going on right now, and I can't answer all your questions. Because I wonder whether or not teenage kids look to their parents for that kind of security and calm as much as younger children clearly do. What's your view on that?
Well, I think teens, because their brains are more developed, they're more likely, or the ones that I'm working with, anyways, much more likely to have existential angst, to actually be having their mind go places, darker places. These people are exposed to a lot of fiction movies, a lot of darker scenarios. They're much more creative in their thinking about what catastrophic life could look like. And a lot of them entertain those thoughts. So I think as parents, we need to ask the question, tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you know. Tell me what goes through your mind, so that we have an opportunity to clarify and correct some of their thinking. That they can be very misinformed. They even if they're sitting and watching the same newscast as you side by side on the couch, it doesn't necessarily mean that what the meaning that they're making of what they're hearing is healthy or accurate. So we need to process it with them. And they like being included in the conversation. So I would go further and say things like, if you were governor of a state, or if you were mayor of a city, how would you handle this? What do you think about fining people for not going out? I actually have it as if it is like an intellectual debate, and get them working that mental muscle. I would really like to see youth creating some kind of a social campaign to educate other youths about this misunderstanding that they already think they're kind of invincible when you're that age. And so they're not understanding the concept of flattening the curve, or herd immunization mentality, that this social interest, that we're not doing it because we worry about you dying of the disease. We do it because we're taking a personal step back to isolate in order to help others. And if you've been raised in a pretty self-entitled, egocentric way, which a lot of kids can be very ego interested. This is a new way of thinking about the world. People that grew up during World War I and II understood that you were making sacrifices to help the front line, and I don't think our teens get that yet.
No, I'm glad you raised that. And I wonder if we could just sort of finish up on that notion, because you're right. They all think they're invulnerable. They all, not only do they think they're invulnerable, but they don't worry too much about bringing home, the symptoms of the disease or of the virus, and potentially infecting their parents. They just don't make that extra leap. So, is there a particular argument parents of teenage kids should use in order to try to get that point through?
So I think parents can do their best to give information, but in my experience, and we look at any other kind of teen behavior, what shapes teen behavior, how you make them choose differently, a lot of it is very much shaped by their peer culture. So we need to get we have such great youth leadership in this country. You look at the number of kids that fill the stadiums for the Free the Children, Me to We days, that are very concerned. Look at the Greta Thunbergs. And there's so many youth leaders today that we just need to get someone to get on this campaign of youth talking to youth about how it is it's not cool to go play basketball with your friends. What is really cool is to stay home and make a TikTok video with your family, and then send it to your friends about why you didn't see them. They're so creative, but they really need to be influencing each other. And I think there's enough positive teens out there to make that the dominant message, rather than the silly pushback. There's a lot of kind of dumb challenges and silly things that capture people's attention. I think we need to put a kibosh on that. But it's the teens that need to do it for the other teens.
You are always such a font of good advice for us, Alyson Schafer, and we're always glad when you make time for us here on TVO. Thanks so much, and great to see you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.